Hey guys, welcome back. So today we'll be discussing for loops, while loops, repeat while loops, everything loops. So basically, a for loop is just going through the code over and over and over again for a set amount of time. That is a for loop. It will repeat as many times as you designate it. A while loop is pretty much the same thing, except instead of defining how many times you will go through the loop, it has a condition it checks and it'll keep doing the code within the loop as long as the condition is still being met. Once the condition breaks, then it leaves the loop. And the repeat while loop is the same thing as the regular while loop, except it will do the code first before checking. So it's going to do the code, check if the condition's met, and then if it is met, it's going to keep repeating it, then check, and it's going to keep repeating it, and then it will leave once the condition is not met anymore. So let's go ahead and create a new playground. We'll call this loops playground. We'll go ahead, create that. So let's start off with the for loop first. So let me just go ahead and give you an example. For I in 1 to 10, print out I. Okay, so Alright, so now let me explain to you what's going on right now. So this is the structure of a for loop. It says for I can be anything. It's a variable name. It's a you can name it index, or it's just something. Oh yeah, because then you gotta change this guy as well. It's a variable which takes up all the items in the list and it increments it as you go through the for loop. Okay, so what that is meaning is the first time around when the computer hits this line of code, it's going to say, okay, I've got 10 things in a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And an index is going to hold the value of 1 the first time around, and then it's going to do everything inside of the curly braces, and then it's going to loop back to the top. Index is going to take the second value, which happens to be a 2 then, and it's going to go through the following code with index holding a value of 2. It's going to go back to the top, and it's going to do it with the next item, which is 3. And it's going to keep doing this, and it's going to hit 9, and it's going to go through, and it's going to say index is going to have a value of 9. It's going to go through again, and index will have a value of 10, and then it's going to print out 10, and then it will not do anymore because the for loop is only to be done a certain amount of times, and then it's been done the 10th time, and then it's going to be gone out. So this one is essentially just printing out numbers from 1 to 10, as you can see here, and we got to see the console from this button right over here. So this is essentially just a for loop. We can go ahead and utilize for loops when we want to do like accumulation, when we want to track like let's create a variable. Variable x is equal to 5, and we just want to go through a for loop for I in 1 through 5, and it's going to hold the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I is going to hold those values each iteration through. And let's say we want to print out like the multiples of 5, right? So the first time around it should print out 5. So that's going to just be the value of x times I, because the value of I the first time around is 1. Actually, let me just type in a separate print line here so then we have an extra line. Okay, so we have for I in 1 through 5. So the first time around I is going to be equal to 1, and so we're going to print out x times I. X holds value of 5, and we're printing out x times I. So this should print out 5, which it does right here. And then the next time around, I is going to hold a value of 2. And now we're going to print the value of x, 5 times 2, which is 10, and so on. And you can see we have the multiples of 5 right here. And so that is the basics of a for loop. Let's move on to a while loop. So with a while loop, it looks pretty much the same way, except for this thing here. It's going to be replaced with a condition. So we can say while, let me create a new variable. Variable a is equal to, let's say, 0. And we want to keep doing this while loop until a is greater than 10, let's say, or let's say 50. So while a is less than 50, we're going to keep doing something. What do we want to do? Initially, let's just keep it basic and let's just print out the value of a. So what this is going to do is, oh, see, it's all zeros here because we didn't change a at all. So our value of a currently is 0. While a is less than 50, we're going to print out a. But here's the thing. It's going to keep going and going and going on forever and ever because a doesn't change. It's going to go through this loop and it's going to say, okay, is a, which is 0, less than 50? Yes, we're going to print out a. Now, since we didn't change a is the same thing. And it's going to go back to the top here. Is a less than 50? Yeah, it is. So it's going to print out another value of a, which is 0. And this is what you call an infinite loop, and this is something that you guys do not want in your programs at all. So what just happened was an infinite loop took over my computer, and I was unable to do anything because my computer was hogged down doing this one, and it was completely hung. So I restarted Xcode, and here we are. So what we do have to do is increment our a value. So I'm going to put this one in first so it doesn't do that again. So how we can do that is we can reassign a. So a is going to be equal to whatever the value of a was plus 1. All right? So this is just making sure that we can go ahead and exit our loop, because it's going to go through the first time around. It's going to say, is a less than 50? Yep. Okay, so we're going to go and do everything inside the while loop, which says our new value of a is going to be assigned to our old value of a plus 1. 0 plus 1, 1. Okay, so now a, since a is 1, it's going to, since that's the last line of code inside of this loop, it's going to loop back to the top, and it's going to say, is a, which is 1, less than 50? Which it is, and it's going to go back, and it's going to keep doing that all the way until we get to 48, which means when a is 48 less than 50? Yep. 48 plus 1, 49. Okay, let's go here. 49 is less than 50. Yep. 49 plus 1 is 50. Our value of a is now 50. Is a less than 50? No, it's equal to 50, so it's not going to do this, and it's going to move on. So now, since we have this safeguard in our way, we can go ahead and print out the value of a safely this time. So as you can see over here, let me put in a little print so we have some spacing. Okay, this is the first loop. This is the second loop. This is our while loop. So as you can see, our value of a initially was 0, and is 0 less than 50? Yep, print 0 and then change the value of a. And it's going to keep doing this 50 times. And as you can see, it goes from 0 all the way to 49, because when a is 49, it is less than 50. It's going to print out 49, change the value of a to 50. 50 is not less than 50, so it doesn't do this loop anymore. It exits because the condition is not met. All right, so now doing something very similar, it's called a repeat while loop. So we're going to say repeat, and we want some line of code to repeat. Let's create a new variable called b, So var b is equal to 0. And instead of adding, let's go ahead and do some multiplication this time. So we'll say print b. And we're going to go ahead and quickly change this guy to b times 2. Actually, let's go ahead and change this guy to 1. Okay. So our variable b is holding a value of 1. And what this is saying is we're going to repeat this segment of code, print b, which is 1, and then reassign b to be the value of old b times 2, which then would be 2. And we're going to repeat this while our b is going to be, let's say, less than 2000, let's say. All right. So what we have here is, let's put in another print line over here. Okay. So what we have right now going on is we have a variable, which is b, holding a value of 1. It's going to say, okay, it reached this spot in the code, repeat. So it's going to go ahead and do this code, print the value of b, which is 1, which is what it did. And it's going to reassign the value of b. 1 times 2 is 2, so b holds the value of 2 now. While b, which is 2, is less than 2000, it's going to go ahead and repeat the same segment of code. So it's going to print out b now, which now holds the value of 2, and we're going to reassign b. So it's going to be the old value of b, 2 times 2, 4. 4 is less than 2000. It's going to go ahead, go back, print out 4, and so on. And it's going to reassign to 8, and it does this as long as the value of b is less than 2000. Now, you can see that we have printed 1024, and so let's say, okay, while 1024 is less than 2000, we're going to print out 1024, and now we're going to change it, so it should be 2048, and since that is not less than 2000, it's not going to do this segment of code again. But b does hold that value, so if I say print b, you can go ahead and see that it will indeed print out that value. So that is pretty much the basic loops that we have in Swift, and we can go ahead and use this with arrays and other elements of Swift like that, and I'll be diving into more of that later on. And so for now, that would be it. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and please do hit a like button on this video because it does mean a lot to me. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.